today. Hope you're having a beautiful day. Uh, just out here enjoying this weather out here. Kind of warm out here. Starting to feel like the summertime almost. Kind of humid. Kind of humid out here. But I thought I'd talk to y'all guys for a minute. A lot of things going on with this economy. A lot of things going on as far as job situations, job security, and we have to really, focus on where our income will come from. We always focus on, uh, getting a job, getting a regular 9 to 5 job. But I think nowadays we have to look towards, multiple streams of income, where we can get money from, all types of areas. And so, again, thank y'all for watching. But yeah, we really have to consider these things as far as our income. A lot of people, are getting laid off from their jobs, and they on, you know, so dependent on 9 to 5 jobs. You know, even the government, even government jobs. Government jobs used to be a really secure job, but nowadays, uh, they are the most affected these days. You never know when your last day will be as far as these jobs is concerned. So I had to come in, had a little disturbance. But yeah, a lot of people don't know where their next job is coming from. As far as job and security is, concerned. And yeah, we really got to be aware of these things as far as job security, as far as our jobs go. Uh, it's a lot of things I've been, looking into as far as job security, as far as multiple streams of income. Uh, it's a lot of things. Even on your phone, you can get money as well. We often look at these games and stuff on our phones as scams, and sometimes I've tried those games and I've won a lot of money on those games, and so it's different ways you can get money. Don't just look at uh, don't just look at your 9 to 5 job as your only source of income. You have to look at different things as far as your income is concerned, because it's getting kind of tricky out here as far as income. And so, uh, again, appreciate y'all for being in here. I see 8 people in here. Let me know you're in here. But it's tricky these days. Very tricky these days as far as uh, job security. Job security is very hectic these days, and we have to figure out a way to really survive. Literally, in this economy, especially having this president, President Trump. A lot of things going on. Like I said, government. Government jobs are in jeopardy. Uh, and they used to be the most secure jobs. Working for the government. I remember times, my dad tell me about, getting a government job. But nowadays, the government jobs is very tricky, as far as, keeping those. And so, try to find a multiple streams of income. Maybe want to start an Etsy store, start selling art, and, start selling items, be on eBay. You probably got some items around the house that you don't really use anymore, you know. start selling some items that you don't really need around the house. Uh, I've made a lot of money from that, selling, uh, selling, items that I didn't really use no more on OfferUp. So many different websites, so many different websites, uh, or apps to really make some extra income, you know. And so yeah, I thought I'd do this video. Thought I'd do this video to really talk to you guys. A lot of people be trying to wonder where their next money come from, waiting for that check every 2 weeks. That's a pain. Waiting for money every 2 weeks. And just try to find some multiple streams of income. Maybe get on YouTube and you know make some, get monetized on YouTube. Expressing what you really like to do, your passions, your dreams, those things that you really love to do. People really love to hear your experience in whatever field that you're in. And so, yeah, at first it's very nervous. You get very nervous on YouTube, but after a while, you start getting comfortable. Just talking to the camera. First it's kind of weird. I ain't gonna lie. First it's kind of weird. Getting on camera, just talking to your phone. But after a while, you get used to it. And so, just so many ways that you can, get, multiple streams of income. How you doing? Hello world. Say hi African. Ishmael, how you doing, Ishmael? But yeah, so many ways you can, get income. Don't just look at one way to receive your, sources of income. Try to find, different ways you can really, work things out in life. You have a certain skill. You have a certain skill that you have. Work those skills out in order to make a living with what you love to do. And so again, appreciate y'all for watching. Hope y'all enjoy y'all day. Be productive. All right, peace.